Hello, my name is Ray Salazar, and this is Morning Reel podcast of films that I review, whether they're cool, whether they suck, whether they're really good or horrible, whether they stand the test of time, or everybody forgot it after a whole weekend. It is Christmas time, and Christmas in California is very cold at the moment. Thank God, because I was tired of that summer to fall heat. Yes, fall heat. Yes, we Californians, especially in SoCal, get fall heat. You don't want to spend the fall in California unless you want to get a tan. Today, I am excited to talk about two films. Yes, two films. I grew up watching these films because it came out when I was a kid, and I still enjoy them watching them as an adult. And I've seen these films before. I've seen them numerous times. I probably never put like too much attention to it, but because I'm into filmmaking, here I am. Here are my thoughts. Today I'm reviewing Home Alone. Dun dun dun. A 1990 American Christmas comedy film directed by Chris Columbus and written by the famous John Hughes or Hughes. You might know him who wrote 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, Uncle Buck, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Anything with catchy quotes, anything with the character breaking the fourth wall, anything that has to deal with snow or being outdoors or being in the city. That's John Hughes, and this is Home Alone. Now, this film stars Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, or Pesci, Daniel Stern, John Hurd, Roberts Blossom, and the incredible Catherine O'Hara. Cinematography by Julio Macat or Massat, edited by Raja Gosnell, music by the GOAT, John Williams. Yes, the John Williams. And his music plays a big role in the film because it not only presents the action, but it also drives the action. It also, it puts the fun in the film. Now, this film was distributed by 20th Century Fox. Now, I'm not here to tell you how great, how, how this film stood the test of time and all that crap. I'm just going to tell you how I see it. And I saw it. And I enjoyed this film. It's really good. Just off the top, I would give it 3.5 tokes. And I'm going to tell you simply why, because this is not the only film I'm going to be reviewing. Now, the reason why I give it 3.5 stars is because I guess the con is the slapstick. I can't say I'm a big fan of slapstick. I like slapstick, but I mean, Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci, these guys would have been dead 5 times in the film. And it's a comedy film. It's a children's film in a sense. It's a Christmas film. In the end, there has to be a happy ending. So, Kevin McAllister doesn't die. He doesn't bleed. I don't like nothing like that happens to him. Especially when he gets caught by these two burglars. That scene where they caught them, where they caught him, and they were like kind of toying around with him, saying all kinds of crap, telling him, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you this way or whatnot. I'm gonna start by biting your fingers off or whatever. In the real world, that kid would have been fucking dead. He would have been dead. God forbid he would have been dead. Like there's no way he would have survived that whole evening. He probably got some good shots in there, especially with that BB gun. They all would have been dead. To put it simply, they would have been dead. So when you see that from I guess from a bougie art film standpoint, yeah, you know what? It's a little bit too much. But that's what kind of makes the film. It's supposed to be that type of film. It's supposed to make you laugh, supposed to give you suspense and making sure that you may think that the kid's gonna survive, but is he gonna really survive? And if so, how bad is he gonna get hurt? And if you see the film, you know. This film has great writing, especially not the first establishing shot, but like the first interior shot where you see family members just walking in and out of all kinds of columns in the home, upstairs, downstairs, from the kitchen to the living room, hallways, and they're all talking, they're all saying all kinds of things. And when you look at it at first, it may seem like you don't, what are they talking about? Like what's going on? But it makes sense. I like I like that dynamic where you are already intrigued just because there's chaos going on and you don't know what's up. You want to find out, and we find out these people are getting ready. They're trying to spend Christmas in Paris because they got a good deal out of it. Um, Kevin's the one kid who, you know, in a way, he's like any other kid. He feels that there are some people who are just automatically against him because of his age and whatnot, and he has older brothers and sisters and cousins who find him like annoying, who make him who seem like he's like a twerp to them. He's just like just another annoying brother. Who's to say if he isn't? Who's to say that he is? But either way, every family has that. I'm sure all kinds of siblings have that certain dynamic. I I'm raising my hand on this one. When my brother was a kid, he was annoying sometimes, but he grew out of it, thank God. Just part of growing up, just part of being a kid. Anyways, Kevin fucks up so bad that, and there's this really good shot. And here's another thing about the film. What's so cool about it is the cinematography. It's very intrusive. It's very in your face sometimes. It makes sure that you are being fed throughout the whole film. You are being fed. There is not one shot missing that doesn't question what's going on or why is that shot happening. Everything saves itself. It's funny because I've seen Ferris Bueller, and obviously you see Matthew Broderick breaking the fourth wall, talking to the audience, and all that crap. And obviously you see this in this film, Home Alone. You see Macaulay Culkin talking to the camera, and I can't say if I'm a fan or not of this type of shot or this type of purpose of the shot. I mean, it's supposed to make you feel like you belong in the film, that you are a part of the film, that you're not just the audience, but you are there with the characters. There's one shot when Kevin fucks up in the kitchen, all the milk spills out to the passports, fucks up the pizza, I guess. It's just a mess, and everybody hates him for it because he basically ruined dinner, and that dinner costed a lot of money with a tip. So anybody would be pissed. Anyways, the shot, everybody's looking at him, and it's a tracking shot. It's like it's a pan shot. It's a left pan, and you see everybody just giving Kevin all kinds of looks, dirty looks, like, man, dude, you fucked up. Like, how could you? And you don't even have to say anything. It's just a matter of the fact that you know they showed that, and they didn't have to use words for it. So I think that's a pretty neat trick, and they do that a lot. There's a lot of point of view shots. There's a lot of fourth wall. There's overhead shots. There's low angle shots. There's all kinds of shots, and a lot of those shots really are to provide suspense in some aspects of certain scenes in the film. I won't say what because we'll be here all day. Anyways, I enjoyed it. There's a heart to this film. Don't fuck up. Listen to your parents. Sometimes you get what you wish for, and sometimes you can't take that shit back. Or rather, not. It can be taken back, whether you take it back or not. Sometimes there are some things that you cannot just take back. And not only that, people make mistakes. And when people make mistakes, sometimes we tend to overreact and we say and or do things that in the long run we don't really mean. But to each his own. Great music, like I said, it adds to the film. It makes you it does make you feel like it's Christmas. The production design of this film is pretty good. I mean, you're in a home. Who's to say that it's an actual set? I don't know. I'm not gonna find out. I don't care. I'm just looking at how I look at it. And that's that with that film. I would recommend everybody to see this film from ages two and up or whatever, you know? It's a film for the whole family. And I'm going to watch it again. Takes me back. It makes you feel like you are at home in a sense. It makes you feel that you are a part of Christmas. On to Home Alone 2. Dun dun dun. Now, Home Alone 2 is obviously the sequel to Home Alone. But guess what? This one is Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. And it features pretty much the whole cast, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, with some, new people in the thread. Anyway, this film came out in 1992. Still a Christmas comedy film directed by Chris Columbus, written and produced by John Hughes or John Hughes. Now, this one's a little different, but at the same time, it's sort of the same film. It's like watching The Hangover 2. You're just basically watching The Hangover, just in another location and with, little teeny tiny circumstances. Anyways, this film, I mentioned this before to a couple of friends of mine. This film actually introduced me to New York, the city of New York. It introduced me somewhere that's outside of Los Angeles. And when I saw this film when I was a kid, you look at New York and you just look at it as a maze, at this big monstrous little city. Well, it's a big little city, I guess. I don't know. It's basically on a giant plain of water, It's crazy. But this film introduced me to New York. It made me want to go to New York, even as a kid, seeing American Airlines, seeing all kinds of Easter eggs, all kinds of nostalgia, all kinds of things that were popular then. I mean, you got Donald Trump in the film doing a cameo, and he had like one or two lines, and it's perfect because I mean, when you're watching it as a kid, you don't know who that guy is unless you were born in this generation, right? You'll have some inkling as to who that person is on screen. But you got the man there. This is not a shout out. Either way, Kevin gets lost in New York. He was chasing his father, who the father was chasing the family through the airport, trying to get to the gate, trying to make it on time. And Kevin is so stubborn and so like desperate to recharge his batteries for his talk boy, which I wanted as a kid. I'm pretty sure any other kid who saw this film would have wanted a talk boy. Even girls, because they made talk girls. I know they did because I saw it when I was a kid at a Toys R Us in Culver City. Shout out. Either way, when he thinks he sees his father, it's not his father. And guess what? He crashes into the one of the staff at the airport who basically manages the gate. All the tickets are scrambled. And he says, "For sure, I'm here. My parents are here." And they're like, "All right, well, we'll make sure." But they do a half assed job doing it, which is, as far as writing is concerned, this whole type of premise. Well, here's the thing about this film. As far as comparing it to the first film, I honestly, the second film, as far as entertainment is concerned, I do enjoy it better than Home Alone, just because it is more violent, it's more slapsticky, it is darker. I mean, come on, you're gonna show New York without it being dark? It's gonna be fucking dark. Come on, the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's no way getting around it. There's no way getting around what Central Park is after night or certain streets at night. And it's kind of scary. When I saw that film when I was a kid, seeing Kevin walk through the streets alone when he could have been fucking mugged, raped, or God forbid, killed on the spot, which is another problem in the film, which is why I would give this film 3 stars. What? 3 stars? Yeah, 3 stars. Because even though it's entertaining as far as the plot is concerned, how scenes get to another scene, how the story drives itself, it's questionable. I feel like they didn't know what to. It's not that Hughes didn't know what to write. He knows what to write. This guy's a fucking master. I give him fucking cred. He knows how to write characters. He knows how to write conversations. I think the problem is at this point, or at least at that point in time, I guess he maybe have ran out of certain situations within the scenes as far as how characters get by, you know, especially in the third act where the burgers come back after they escape from jail and all that stuff. You know, they chase the kid because he took a picture of them and he just knows that they're gonna do this big ass score, and not only that, he caught it on tape. So Kevin has to do something, and not only why does Kevin have to do anything? And the reason why is because he's been in this city alone, and even though he was alone, he received. I mean, let's not kid around. He received all kinds of hospitality. You know, he received hospitality from a fucking banging hotel, which like technically he didn't even have to pay for. He received hospitality in the toy store. You know, the owner was so nice to him, and Kevin loves Christmas, and he knows what it is to be a good person. He has a good heart. He knows what it is for somebody to have a good heart. So when he heard all this news and no one else is gonna do about it, and only he knows about it, he's got to do something about it. And not only that, which what pretty much ignited him to do it is to see when he saw those kids in the hospital just like sitting there, and it looks all dark, and well, it doesn't look dark, it looks dim, it looks sad, it looks lonely. Mr. Duncan mentioned that from some of the money that he was going to make that day, he was going to give it to the kids. He was going to send that money and donate it to the kids because, after all, you know, they deserve it, you know? So it touched Kevin. And not only that, he's a kid himself. He put himself in that position. You know, he may be lost, but he's not in the hospital. He's not sick, and he's not feeling completely hopeless. So here we go. Got the big guns out, and this time it's for real. And in this film in particular, he didn't really show that much mercy. Much like the first film, a lot of slapstick violence. You know, these guys would have died 5 more times over in this film than the other film. You know, especially Kevin. You know, he's had his close calls and shit. He would have had a concussion if he fell on the ice and hit his head. Obviously, he would have been probably dead. And there are nice moments in the film, especially when he meets the pigeon lady, and they teach each other things, and that's kind of cool from John Hughes. You know, he's that type of writer or storyteller where he will find a nice quiet moment to basically just just to rewire yourself and to kind of give yourself a breather as to what comes next. But he does it in a very peaceful way because I mean, throughout the second act of the film, obviously Kevin McAllister is just running and just alone and doesn't really know what to do. And here he is finding solace upstairs of a famous orchestral hall. And what more do you want at that given moment to give you any kind of peace and tranquility and a boost of hope? And the parents are great in this film too. I mean, they're more on it, like compared to the last film. And Catherine O'Hara's character, a fucking boss, takes no for an answer. She's willing to do anything for her kid, whether she fucked up or not. Here she is, scrambling through the streets of New York City, and we don't even know which part of New York City Kevin would be in. You know, she could be in Brooklyn, he can be in Long Island. Who the fuck knows? Is Long Island even part of New York City? I don't know. Cali Blaze, you gotta hit me up on this one. Either way, good film. It's not as strong as the first film, and I think the core reason why is because once you've seen one fuck up once and you see it again and you try to create all these kinds of, over the top situations, sometimes it loses its edge. And I feel the film has suffered from the slapstick. Even though they did a good, Hughes and the team, Columbus did a good job to create a Christmas, you know, balanced film. And for the most part, it is balanced, but it's just not that strong. You know, there's not enough like they call it like wrapping up the cost. You know, it's weaker. You can just but you can see it too. It's weaker in a sense. Either way, my name is Ray Salazar. Follow me at Morning Shot Films, IG and YouTube. Rate and review this podcast named Morning Reel. And thank you for listening. On to the next Christmas film.